Ooh. Uh-oh. Ta-da! Hey everybody, this is Eric Perkins Artist, and I am doing a collaboration with Juan Ruiz, in which I will be doing the line work here for Fennec Shand, an intergalactic bounty hunter assassin from Star Wars, seen in The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and the Clone Wars cartoon. So I'm going to go ahead and lay in all the line work here. I already did sort of a workup of this character and pose in Photoshop before I came to the table, so I already had a pretty decent idea where I wanted to go with the drawing. So I just start throwing down lines, laying out the big shapes of the body and the pose, and as you can see, I still end up reworking some things a couple of times. Once that's all laid in, I can get started on the details of the costume. And one thing that I noticed that was pretty cool as I was actually studying the costume is that, a lot of Star Wars costumes are actually defined by more like by texture than by color. So, like Fennec Shand wears mostly all black, but every part of her costume has like some different texture to it, which makes it really interesting, even though it's mostly black with little hints of orange in the trim. Now that I have the sketch roughed in, I can go through and start laying in the details and defining the characteristics of the costume that Fennec Shand wears. So I will lay in line work for anywhere that there's like a seam that's important or a bit of trim. Start putting in pieces that actually stack on top and add extra forms along with the helmet. So I've saved the helmet and the sniper rifle for the last because they are some of the most iconic parts of this particular character. Like if you look up an image of Fennec Shand, you're probably going to find one with her with the helmet and the sniper rifle. So I wanted to make sure that I referenced these things and did them as accurately as I could in this particular drawing. I have noticed, though, now that I've been thinking about it and kind of analyzing some of the stuff from Star Wars, that most of your really iconic characters have helmets that, like, completely cover their faces or almost completely cover their face. Like, for instance, Darth Vader, Darth Revan, Kylo Ren, who, for whatever reason, is not actually a Darth, Stormtroopers, Clone Troopers, the Mandalorians, Boba Fett, they all wear these helmets that cover like all of their features, and they're also some of the most important characters that you encounter throughout the movies. It's kind of interesting. With the costume roughed in, and I have all the general details laid in along with the props, I start going through and darkening all of my line work because I'm going to scan this in, and anything I can't clean up on the paper itself is going to get cleaned up as much as possible in Photoshop with adjustments. So the main point here is just to darken in all the lines that I really want to keep in there, clean up whatever I can the most I can with my electric eraser. I also use a kneadable eraser, darken everything in. So right here, I'm just adding the final little details in the belt and the gadgets that she wears on her belt and chest piece. And I just want to say, I'm really excited to do this collaboration with Juan this month, and I'm looking forward to seeing how everything turns out. Towards the end, I realized I forgot one little detail or actually a couple of details in Fennec Shand's helmet, so I had to pull up my reference again and look at that and put those details in. But in general, this is the final stage where we touch everything up, put everything together. So I did use references in this drawing for Fennec Shand's costume, blaster pistol, blaster rifle from Star Wars as well, which I tried to use the actual rifle that Fennec Shand uses in the series. Now that I have the drawing all finalized, darkened up, and I've signed my name to it, I'm gonna take it over to my scanner, scan it in to the computer, do a little bit of magic in Photoshop to clean it up a little bit more, and send it off to Juan. And so I'm going to let Juan take over from here. Thanks for your time.
Hello everybody, I'm about to shade this really cool drawing. This is drawn by my friend Eric Perkins. We're doing a collab of, he drew Fennec Shand, and I'm going to render her. So it's kind of a fun thing. If you have a drawing similar to this of a character or a monster or whatever you're drawing, and you're to the point where you're going to do some shading, you want to remember, you should always think about making your lighting and your character dramatic, and most importantly is to create a mood. So I've thought about this quite a bit, and what I'm going to do is give her some lighting coming from down below here, shooting up that direction. Now one thing you have to remember also about shading is it doesn't have to be realistic. Be realistic like it is in life. You are controlling the shadow and the light. We create our own lighting according to how we like it. Light this character however you wish to light it. And the lighting doesn't have to make complete sense in terms of reality. And I'm going to put some shade lines. So for example, I'll start here, here, and here. And I'm thinking about here, like that. So basically these are the highlights. The reason this is in color is because my printer ran out of black ink. Legs are rounded. So the highlight would fall here somewhere. And this is the preliminary shading. I'm gonna get the mood down. Now, one thing to remember also when you're doing shading is that not everything has to have a highlight in the shadow. Do that, it'll be overkill. Put like a V shape. Go with the V shape here. This is my first pass of shading. So when I shade a character, I go in phases. This is my phase one, knocking in the first pass. See if I like what I have or if I don't like what I have. Let me shade this back here. I can put some volumetric shading back here to make this pop if I have to. What that means is, even though it's in shadow over here, I'm not gonna put a highlight, but I could do something like this where I shade this a little darker, like that. So theoretically there's no highlight, like that. But because I made the shadow around this part of the breast a little darker, it looks volumetric, like so there's a round shape there. So this is all going to be dark too because the head's casting a shadow that way. So this part of the hair is all in shadow. Draw some little shadows in between just to show depth. I'm doing this with my H pencil. Just in case you're wondering what I'm using, I'm going to go with this lighting. Let's go in there and start developing the shadow work. I could use this eraser to remove some highlight, to put a highlight right here, there, and here. Doesn't look bad. I'm gonna try the HB now. It's good to put some little zingers, I call them, just little dark points that dark and fade out.